Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy, and I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you can be prepared to win the battle for business. Now, listen, I know you're out there. You're closing deals, you're making money, you're turning prospects into profits. So I've got to make it worth your while. That's why I have on the kinds of guests that you can listen, learn, and earn from. Today's guest is no exception. So thanks for being on board today. And as always, a special thanks to our sponsor, Corbett Public Relations, where they've been promoting and protecting businesses and brands for over 30 years. So do yourself a favor, visit Bill and his team at CorbettPR.com. That's CorbettPR.com. So welcome aboard, everybody. Now, I have long said that all human beings are in sales. And it starts when we're kids. It's the kid who tries to sell the parent on the toy. It's the parent who sells the kid on why they gotta go to bed. It's the employee who's selling the boss on the raise. And then you have the boss selling the employee on why they gotta work overtime. So again, in one way, shape, or form, we're all selling. And then, not too long ago, I actually came across a matchmaker on Instagram. And one of her videos really caught my attention. Some really, really good content. And then as I started to think, the dating ritual is that one sale that involves all human beings. And if you think about a tough sale, okay, and it's in sales on the Profit Express, if you're a sales professional, sales isn't easy. But now the true sale of yourself. Talk about having to be vulnerable. Talk about the fear of rejection. So then I started to follow more and more of today's guest's posts on Instagram. And she is Katy Clark, and she's a matchmaker, and she is the old school dating coach. And she was sharing topics on everything from, how to respect yourself, how to have self-esteem and confidence, how to be a better communicator, how to compliment somebody. And frankly, I love her content. Her channel is great. It's Dating with Katy on Instagram. But as I saw more and more of her content, it really dawned on me that it's just not great advice that she is providing her clients, okay, who need help in the dating ritual. But it's great advice for all of us, especially as we're trying to win the battle for business, because so much of it is human nature. Again, she's talking about things like confidence, being a better communicator, listening, understanding, having empathy. So I said, you know what? She's going to make an awesome guest on the show. Her profile is great, by the way. You got to follow it. And her message is fantastic, and I know you're going to resonate with it. So it's a pleasure to welcome aboard the Profit Express, Katy Clark, matchmaker. How are you today?
I am great, and thank you for that amazing introduction. Cheers. You can pick up any one of your mugs.
One of my 3 mugs. Here you go. We're going to have to do a mug
We
swap.
all want to know what's in each mug, but my mug, I think, is more fun than your mug because my mug says "Make dating fun again." I don't know. What does yours say?
Well, it's a likeness of my beautiful caricature face for the Profit Express. But yeah, listen, making dating fun again. How do you go wrong with that? So,
Well,
listen,
aren't we lucky to be able to date? I mean, it's kind of a new concept in the last 100 years to date. And
right.
how many people are in bad relationships or married, and all of them love hearing the dating stories. So I want to make sure that people get confident, are successful, and have fun dating.
Well, that first of all, it's a great way to start. But also as a disclaimer, I was not on your Instagram channel because I was looking for dating advice. Happily married 21 years. I don't want my wife to get upset. I certainly could have used you before that, but so here's the first. To me, being a matchmaker is a fascinating profession. It's a fascinating business. So let's start there. How did you get into the business of matchmaking?
So I love that you do notice that. I like to call myself a recruiter because when I tell people I'm a matchmaker, then there's 1,000 questions after that. But I was a Spanish and a sociology major in college. So basically, I like people, I like culture. I've traveled. I lived in China for 7 years. I lived in Costa Rica for a year.
Wow.
So I have an investment in people. I like people. I love
Mm.
hospitality. That was my career before. I used to be Fit Chef Katy. I was a chef and a trainer, always trying to help people feel better about themselves, make healthier choices. And then what happened was I was married for 10 and a half years, got divorced, and I literally Googled matchmaker databases and I got in as many as I could. I was a single mom. I was, fit. I was fun. I was feminine. So I knew dating would be great. And I love the idea of doing it for a matchmaker because it's vetted, it's safer, there's accountability on both ends. And
Sure.
so one of the times I went out with this guy through a company who I currently work for, which is Sync Matchmaking. That's CINQE.com. And I thought, you know what? I am your demographic. I am a divorced person who's looking to date again, and that was many of their clients. And I
Right.
thought all of you young girls don't really get it. So let me get on your team so I can help a little bit. And it's been such a great opportunity. My team is phenomenal. We all work together. Our database and our network is huge. And my clients are the best. They are truly quality people.
So when did you start your service, and how long you been in business?
So I've been doing this for 8 years. I kinda did it part-time. I was working retail as
Right.
well, which because I love a good outfit. It's important, especially in dating and staying in a good relationship. How you show
Sure.
up matters. And, it wasn't until the pandemic when retail ended that I thought, the truth is I can put people on a first date, but they can't always get a second date. And
Right.
that's where
Right.
sales and marketing does really come in your own personal dating life. And I think my episode 4 or 5 in my podcast, and I put it the first 10 of my podcasts are all about like development. Are you ready to date? What should you be looking for? Like I sequentially ordered it so people can, grow if they're brand new to dating. And
Right.
it's about sales and marketing. So when you show up, how are you showing up in dating?
I love it. So now, all right. So you're the matchmaker, but again, like I said, I was introduced to you on Instagram. I've been following you, but you also, part of your marquee, part of your billing says old school dating coach.
Right.
Explain that one. That caught my attention. What do you mean?
So on the other side of my mug is my other soundbite. It says old school standards with new school style.
Mm,
And there is a space that is confused in the dating world. It's, the women's movement and I don't need no man. This whole I'm fine by myself, where I actually believe we're better together. And I
right.
do believe in slight somewhat gender roles. Like let's celebrate femininity and let's
Mm,
celebrate masculinity. And the people who follow me still value those sets and want to find that partner who is good and comfortable with that. And so again, it's very old school, but it's worked also for thousands of years. And of course women can work, of course women can take out the garbage. It's never about that. It's just about the fact that we love a good gentleman and he loves a feminine woman. And that works. And then
yeah.
with the new school with the new school style, like let's all make sure we're 2.0ing ourselves. Like when you're divorced or when you're coming out of a relationship, don't consider it a new chapter. Consider it the next sequel in your book. Like, how
Right.
are we going to glow up? How are we going to make sure that when we show up, we're memorable and we are what people want to date?
So then, all right. So you've made then a specific business decision. Talk about sales and marketing on the Profit Express here. It's part of your branding. It's on your mug. Old school dating. Um, in making that decision, I'm sure you've thought about it. You're aware of it. You've probably alienated a certain segment of the market. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy in my niche, however you say it.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
know that they are 100% comfortable with what I teach, that we're on the same page. And now look, when I go to match couples, when I am meeting people, I already know where my clients lie in their politics, in their religion,
Mm-hmm.
and those things are important. That's
Yes.
compatibility matters. And if you want to pretend that I'm highly liberal, but I want to date a conservative because she's cuter, it's like, no, that's silly. That's it's going to blow up eventually. So I really try to get, I mean, I have my 5 C's on how to have a great relationship, but I really want to make sure that they're connecting on all levels and doing relationships right, because dating is just the first stage. Then it
Yeah.
moves
Yeah.
into relationships, and you're heavily deep into one, and there are probably some great tips you could give the rest of us to be reminded of.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, ask my wife. So So here, all right. So here's you got into what I thought would be an interesting conversation today, as far as you're like, hey, let's celebrate the differences between man and woman, and it's still 2020, and like you're saying, it's 2.0, it's a sequel. I think that's great. That we do celebrate the differences, because that's what makes it special. So then, this to me is interesting as you say this. So here it is, 2022. How has dating changed from today going back to 2002, 20 years ago? What do you think is the biggest change?
Wow. Well, 2000, I was married, pregnant, and moving to China. So I don't remember that exact year. So we can roll back a little bit
Right, right,
further
right.
than that. Wait. Uh, I mean, it's this new day and age of apps. Disposable dating is abhorrent. It's everywhere. People are
Yeah.
moving on to the next. There's so many options. And I even like to go back further because I'm old school. I like to go back into decades ago when I always say Grandma Betty knew
Mm-hmm.
Auntie Cindy down the street, and they both knew, I have a niece and I have a nephew, and let's put them together. And I call that the picture frame. And people forsake the picture frame for fun now because there's so many options. The picture frame is when your life and their life look similar. Like if I were to go to your house and see the photos you have on your wall, the places you've traveled, again, that's important. And it's a value set. You're living in the same kind of mentality. So that old schoolness isn't happening anymore because people they're not meeting organically like they used to. Everybody dreams of meeting organically. It's every woman's dream to be in Trader Joe's looking at an apple, and like Mr. Hot Guy rolls in and is like, ooh, like, how do you know a good apple? But that's not happening. And
Right.
so and people don't want to introduce people anymore because they're like, well, what if she's crazy, or what if this happens and I don't want to be responsible? So sadly, that old school way of connecting to great people is much lower nowadays, and everyone's just going to the apps. And look, I'm a fan of the apps. My podcast 11 through 25 are specifically on how to do the apps and do them well, because it is a numbers game. And there are great people out there, even on apps. There are great
Sure.
people. You could be in a bar in Vegas and there could be a great person out there. But are you showing up as that great person is the bigger question. And, I just did a podcast today on are you trying to date outside of your league? Like, how do you know what your number is on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you a
Mm-hmm.
7? Are you a 9? Are you a 5? Like, maybe you're just average, and you need to get over that and realize that that's what you deserve. So, it's a little practical, but I think it's worth talking about.
So, well, there are some harsh realities in life. Let's face it. So now listen. I got married. Talk about old school. So I got married 2001. Okay, and there were no apps. We didn't use an app.
Right.
I met my wife at the time in college, right, which pretty common. And again, never having used one has the frequency of which somebody can, scroll left, scroll right, scroll up, scroll down on candidates, and the fact that it's very impersonal, has it desensitized people to what could be organic dating?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's think about the guy who's a 5 living in his mom's house, who hasn't done any foundational work on himself. He can send a message to a hottie patati and feel like he's the king of the day because he got to talk to her. That's shenanigans. So it's really sad. And even I sometimes will be my clients on different dating apps, and it's so okay. And we know catfishing is happening. Their photos are not true to who they are. People are
Wait,
lying
wait,
about
wait,
their
wait, wait, wait,
ages,
wait.
which
Hold on, hold on. Catfishing. What's that? I don't know catfishing.
real okay. So catfishing is when, and it's often women do this, but men are now doing it as well, when they put a photo on, and then when they show up or in real life or they do a FaceTime, they look nothing like their photo. And it
Oh.
blows my mind that people can't be honest to start. Or nowadays, there's fantastic apps like Facetune, and I will be honest, I've used it for my no makeup days, where you can literally you can thin your arm down, you can put makeup on your face, you can make your smile bigger, your teeth whiter. So women highly use these things. Men hate it, so they call it catfishing. But at the same
Oh.
time, men do something called hat fishing. So there's catfishing and then there's hat fishing. And hat fishing is when a guy wears a hat in every photo, unbeknownst to her, when she finally meets him, he's bald or he has a weird
Oh,
hairline or
yeah.
the sunglasses. I mean, I literally, this big, tall, dark, handsome guy was a Marine. I go and I meet him for lunch. And, I do always encourage a phone call minimum, a
Yeah, yeah.
minimum of a phone call. Time,
Sure,
even better.
sure.
So I meet him. He takes off his glasses. He had the most tired eyes I've ever seen. Not very attractive, you know?
Wait, now what's wrong with bald? I mean, yeah, I think I wear it pretty good. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, everyone's got a type. And I do think that bald can look good. And hey, look, if you've got something that's maybe a negative, maybe it's a height, maybe it's the hairline, or for ladies, maybe you're a little hippie down here, you can
Right,
make up for it in other ways.
right, right. Yeah, well, yeah, but covering it up and not being genuine. I mean, that's just horrible. That is horrible. All right, so here's
Correct.
another point. What are the differences between a man's expectations about datings versus that of a woman's expectations?
So I've got to be honest. I'm on team good guy. The good guy. Now he's different than the nice guy, and he's definitely not the crazy alpha douchebag. But the good guy has great, has such grounded, clear expectations, and they're not over the top. They want three things. This is what I like to say to women. Men are looking for, the good guy is looking for someone who's fit, keeps herself well, has a healthy mindset, has a healthy body, someone
Yep.
who's fun. Too much bitterness out there in the ladies. So much bitterness. It's not cute.
Ah,
So
ah.
she's fun. She wants to do life. She wants to do it well. She's not
Yep.
going to bring her old hangups into everything. And then so fun, fit, and feminine. She's going to bring that tenderness. She's going to be an understanding woman.
Sure.
So that's what men are looking for. And all the women will say, "Well, he just wants a younger girl." That is not true.
Right.
He
Yeah.
wants a woman with these three qualities, no matter what age she is. So typically, a younger girl will be less bitter or she'll be more fit. But ladies, if I can just tell you, get on the train with those three things and you will find a quality good man. But
I love this. So
women, on
wait,
the other,
fun, fit, and feminine.
yep, that's
I
what I
love
like
it.
to say.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
And then women have this crazy expectation on men. They have to like be good looking, have six pack abs, make, $500,000. Like I actually feel like women have kind of an unrealistic idea of what she deserves. So I
Right.
think a lot of this has to do with this Instagram "you deserve" message that goes around.
Yeah.
That is, it's all this positivity of, girl, you deserve the perfect guy. Girl, you deserve the fairy tale. Their fairy tales are for Disney.
Right.
So
Right.
this messaging that women are getting now of, oh, you deserve this and you deserve that, it's kind of sad, and it creates this expectation. And these guys are like, look, I'm not perfect, but I'm
Right.
a great guy. And these women are like, next. It's sad.
Wow. All right. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, men's expectations on dating tend to be a little more grounded, where women are a lot more lofty.
Yes. Yes. And here's the truth of that too. These women want six pack abs on a guy.
Right.
And honestly, I'm like, show me yours. Where are your six pack abs?
Well, you bring up a great point. You bring up a great point.
But this is why I created what I call my DQ, your dating quotient. Like they're shooting outside of their league. And I want people to do this number quiz. Look, I'm an 8.2 out of 10. I'm quality, I'm grounded, I keep myself well, I'm fun. Like I have there's five things, and then you take the average of those five and it gives you what you are out of 10.
Okay.
So ultimately I would have a client do that, and it's kind of self-perspectives,
Right.
and I'm sorry, self-reflective. And they might kind of wake up and realize, well, I don't have my stuff together. I'm really not that fun, you know? And I don't keep myself well. I'm overweight, and it's so really you're like a six. So hopefully that helps them gain a perspective on what you to get your equal. Because you can always get the lesser, but I mean, come on now. If you're not healthy, why do you think you deserve someone who's got six pack abs?
All right. So a client hires you. You have them go through this self-assessment, this dating quotient, you call it, of which you scored an 8.2. So when you have to tell somebody, now they're a paying client, and you have to tell them, well, listen, Mary, I'm sorry, you're a 5.9. How do they receive that? I assume you have to have some 5.9s in there, or something like that, right? How do they receive that message?
Absolutely. So the truth is this: when we start to match our clients, let me start with the guys, and then I'll get to the women. The guys usually want the women who are what they perceive in looks to be a 10. All of this is glitz and glam, gorgeous.
Right.
But I can tell you this is that they're not grounded, these women, a lot of times. Now, I work in the LA area, I work in the higher end communities. There's a lot of beautiful ladies who you can go on a first date with, but when she wants to take a selfie with her purse in the picture, or she's upset because you drive this car and not that kind of car, these guys quickly warm up to the idea that this is not really what I'm looking for. But they kind of have to do that on their own. So the first couple dates, we'll find them the hottest thing that we can find because that's what they think they want. And look, I've been doing this long enough. I know what you really need versus what you think you want. And so they kind of go on a couple dates, and guys quickly are like, you know what? That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a woman with depth of character. I said, well, she might have a couple more wrinkles. So can you chill with that?
Right.
And they're usually very quick to acquiesce to the truth of, yes, Katy, that's really what I'm looking for. Now, women, on the other hand, are very difficult for them to kind of be okay with dating the shorter guy, be okay with dating the bald guy. A lot of these women who can afford our services or whatnot, they want, they already make money. They usually need a man who makes more money.
Right.
But sometimes the man who makes more money wants the girl who's younger. He wants other things. So
yeah. Wow, this is fascinating. So you have the different expectations now. So when people originally come to you, what is the most common element that you have to help them with? Is it physical? Is it emotional? What is it?
Most of our clients, one of the things I do love to impress on people is their style, how they show up. I do take my clients shopping. I take their photos. It's so important because we create a whole bio for them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Again, if you're back out on the market, you want to clean up the front yard, right? I like to say if there's two houses for sale and one family, put in new flowers, they painted the front yard, of course it's going to get more interest versus the other. And you know what? I've heard this before. Well, they should like me for my insides. It's like, well, everybody's visual this day and age.
Right.
I mean, men are highly visual, but women are very visual. So, let's get you to the 2.0. Let's upgrade your outfits. Let's get you a pocket square. I'm a believer in the classic man outfit, which is dark blue jeans, crisp white shirt, blue blazer, fun socks, pocket square. Let's elevate you a little bit and present you well. But then also there is a lot of deeper work that some of these clients have to do. And I am a huge believer in coaching my clients. Now, a lot of matchmaking companies, they'll set you up on a date and that's it. There's no feedback given. There's no coaching involved. Yeah. And I would never work with a matchmaker. And they even set you up on blind dates. I'm not sure why anybody would pay for a blind date. Like if you want a blind date, ask your friends to set you up with someone. But because people are visual and because I want people to be, chemistry attracted, which is one of my 5 C's, that's just as important. Anybody who sets somebody up on a blind date, that's just a really easy out for a matchmaker. I mean, I could set 2 blind dates up all the time.
Right.
Like if no one's seeing each other and just state like, oh, you two will be great together, but there's no attraction. So why would a matchmaker do that? There really has to be a visual connection and then a physical connection and an emotional connection. And there's so many connections that need to be made that visually you have to make sure that your client is looking great. We'll get matchmakers all work together, and some of the bios that these matchmakers send, I am shocked. Like it'll be a guy taking a selfie in his bathroom, and these matchmakers are using that as his bio between other matchmakers, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
So by the way, I love your analogies. By the way, you crack me up. This has been great so far. So. You said, hey, listen, let's start by cleaning up the front lawn. Okay, we're selling a house. Let's make it look pretty, which is it's common sense. It totally makes sense.
Common sense is not so common anymore.
Well, true. You're 100% right. Now, let me ask you this though. So it sounds like as you're describing your services, you go in depth. You go shopping, it's the image, it's pictures, you're coaching them. Now, beyond the Profit Express, I'm a sales performance coach, okay? And a big part of what I do in the realm of corporate sales and corporate communication is just that, communication. Is that part of what you might help your clients with, like how to have a conversation, how to listen? Is there an element of that in your coaching?
Absolutely. So we get feedback after every date from both sides. So that is always a great way to kind of structure the coaching. Our clients are
Right.
very hungry to see like, well, what'd she say? Even if it wasn't a right fit, she usually gives us some in-depth personal, like what she noticed. And I
Okay.
have made it a point to meet every single one of my clients. And now a big thing with communication nowadays is texting. And texting can be taken wrong, out of
Oh yeah,
context.
yeah.
So a lot of times if a client is having a text with a woman or whatnot, even after a first or second or third date, and they're not quite sure what to write, how to write it, I absolutely help them write it up. I help them understand it. Like, what exactly was she saying? What should be my next best move? Like, am I coming on too strong, Katie? All of that is super important for their relationship success, which once they get a relationship, I've done my job. Now, my,
Yeah.
my real job is to bring them quality dates.
Yeah.
I can't verify or solidify the fact that somebody's not totally ready or is not the person
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
said they were. I mean, I,
Right.
I still vet people and nonetheless. But I want my clients in quality relationships. And I'm going to a party on Saturday, a champagne party with two people I put together. So it's exciting. That is success for me.
Yeah. So So one of the things you said in the very beginning is the differences in guys who are masculine, women who are feminine. It's a great thing, and I couldn't agree more. And we've gotten away from that. It's whether it's social media, who knows. But here, so can I tell you a story then here on the Profit Express?
Please, please
So,
do.
like I said, married October 2001, old school, no apps around. And so here's something I've actually gotten flack from it, from family members or friends. And my wife is Carrie. She's probably going to listen to the show at one point. Her name is Carrie. And one of the things I have my wife do, and she's fantastic, I love her to death. I definitely got lucky on that one. She butters my bread. So
I love it.
when we go to a restaurant, I don't have to say anything anymore. I give her a look. I said, "Hun," and she butters my bread. We're at home, and if we happen to have bread that night, she butters my bread. And I don't hide from it. I don't care. But it's one of those sweet things that she does, and she does it lovingly. And you know how much flack she's caught from that. And then people say, "Oh, Tim, you're horrible. What are you doing to Carrie? That's not right." But what they don't know and what I don't say is every single morning, I'm the one who greets her with a cup of coffee.
I love it. I
And
love
it's
it.
and and the reason why do I share that story? Because it's just you know she embraces being feminine. I try to be the best I can with being a guy, and it's just sad. Like I have a 13-year-old son. I'm sad for him. I said maybe you're lucky you find a woman half as good as your mother one day, Magnus. But anyhow, that's why having people like you around is important, because I think the essence of
Yeah.
your approach, how you focus in on this, is critical. And that's why, listen, I love following what you do on Instagram. You have some great content out there. You really
Well, and
do.
I have 3 kids. I have one who's 21, 19, and 16, and I have
Right.
to say that they know where I stand. Like, my sons will always be able to afford to be the man of the house. If their
Yeah.
wife wants to work, great, but if
Yeah.
she wants to raise her children, which I am a firm believer in raising quality kids in this day and age. I used to be a teacher. Whoa.
Sure.
Uh, that he will bring home the bacon and she will cook it up. Like, and
Right.
she doesn't do the best cook, but even my daughter, on the other hand, she's going to college. She's at UCLA. My son's at Berkeley. She knows, she says, Mom, I am such wifey material. The guys dig me not because she's not boss babe. She's not looking to go be Miss CEO, which you can. But here's
Sure.
one thing I learned as a single mom: you can't be everything and do it well. You're going to do C average across the board. And there is
Right.
absolutely nothing wrong with staying home and raising phenomenal kids. I stayed home, I
100%.
raised phenomenal kids. I got divorced, then I did all my little jobs so I could drop my kids off and pick them up every single day. I did what I had to do because I know that that time with my children is short. They're all gone and out of the house now. And
Yeah.
now I can go be my boss babe and,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
work up my own finances, but I valued family more than I valued finances and, making a lot of money. And I think that really paid off. And I tell you what, men find it highly attractive that
Sure.
I care about family and that I can cook. As a matter of fact, I have on my Instagram right now, there's a great magazine called Evie Magazine, and they have an article that says, "What's the one thing that will make you stand out that men really want from women?" And
Mm.
I wrote, I made 4 options. One was she can cook, she's funny, she's smart, and she's pretty. Well, thank goodness she's pretty is the last one. But everybody thinks it's she's smart is the first thing that men are looking for. And it's the idea that the answer is she can cook. Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest, men are simple beings. Men are simple. You
You got
gotta
that right.
F them and feed 'em.
Yeah.
Okay? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys really aren't that hard. And
Nope.
cooking is a lost art. And it's interesting, I get hit on by so many younger guys because I think they're attracted to this, like, family valued, good-looking mom who loves to cook. I used to be a chef. I was on the next Food Network star. I Because when you cook, you bring people together and you show you love them. And that's so for me, I love it. They love that I have great kids. It's attractive. And so this whole boss babe mentality, guys don't need an equal. They don't need this like equal CEO power tripping girl who's like,
Right,
I
right,
can
right.
pay for half. I don't need you. They want a soft, feminine woman who appreciates him, and his hard work and his effort.
Well, you know what it is? We've gotten away from it because of, I'll call it the times, and I'll leave it at that. And what it comes down to is, and I think that's why you're successful, you understand human nature. And again, it gets back to sales.
Mm.
It's the profit express, right? We can't deny human nature. At the end of the day, a guy knows what he's attracted to, and a woman knows what she's attracted to. And that's part of it goes back to what are the real roles from a feminine perspective, from a masculine perspective. And again, with my wife, Carrie, hey, I got lucky there too. She's also an awesome cook. So I listen, I could not agree more. This has been
Let me just say real fast,
yeah,
the
go ahead.
whole buttering your I love it. It's not that you can't butter your own bread, and she can make her own coffee. She
Sure.
can open her own door and she can take out the trash. It's never been about that. It's not
Right.
like watch me be you. For the rest of us, it's I love that you do that for me. And that is
That's it. Yeah.
service and that is relationship because we're better together. And in this new day and age of independence, I don't need people. I can work from home. It's kind of the connections are being lost, but we
Yes.
we can encourage them to be back, and my followers do. They want that deeper connection.
Well, obviously, you're heading in the right direction. I mean, I think your message is spot on. Um, it's been a great conversation. I've had a blast. So let me ask this though. So we've heard your biography where you started out. A mother, you were an educator, a chef, right? So you've traveled. You've had a really interesting life journey. So now here you are today. Dating with Katy Clark. So I got to go personal. How is it for Katy Clark to date? Is it a hard thing? How do you do it?
So I've been single since 2010, so almost 12 years.
Right.
And I jumped in and dated for fun. I knew that I wasn't ready for anything deep because I had my kids.
Sure.
And I just did a podcast on the old guy I dated, the douchebag I dated, and the nice guy I dated. So you'll have to go listen to that. Those great stories. But recently, I've been in a long-term relationship. He is
Okay.
an amazing man, and and ironically, I asked him the other day, "Where are we at?" We're a couple of years in, and he's
Right.
still not sure. And I have to be true to what I want. I actually want to get remarried. I want to wake up with someone for 25 more years and
Sure.
smack his butt and say, "You're stuck with me."
Right.
And I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
do the Disney cruise. And I have these big dreams. And, even dating this great guy, he's not quite there. And I have to honor and respect my heart.
Yeah.
And so we're deep in conversation over where is this going? And it's not an angry, I'm not upset with him. I don't regret my time with him because I've made good decisions, but I also have to honor where I want to go. And if he's not there, then I need to make a choice and release it because
Got it.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's quality dating right there, is communicating your need and what you truly want and then letting somebody go. It's okay to do that.
Well, listen, that's putting the round peg in the square hole. That's never worked. It's not going to work. And you're
Right.
obviously
Right.
grounded enough, to make, what might sometimes be hard decisions, but they're the right decisions, you know?
Right.
Um, Listen, thank you so much. So people can follow you, learn more about you. I just want to make sure I get all the plugs and the links in for you.
Yes. Dating with Katie across the board. So all of my podcasts, my Instagram account, my website. So make sure you check it out and get in my network.
Awesome. Katy Clark, thanks so much for being on board the Profit Express today.
You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this is the Profit Express. And as always, make sure you keep a heads up every Wednesday when great shows like today's with Katy Clark drop. Okay, follow me on Instagram at The Profit Express, also on Twitter at Profit_Express, on Facebook as well. And listen, follow Katy. It's great, not just great dating advice, it's great life advice. And it's something you could apply day to day as you're looking to win the battle for business. Be confident, be a great communicator. And until next time, it's The Profit Express.